Chosen ones, something extraordinary about you just shifted in the quantum field. The ancient orders felt it. The shadow councils registered the disturbance. Every secret society that's been pulling strings from behind the curtain for centuries just received a notification. Right now, as you're watching this, those ripples are reaching the highest levels of hidden power structures. The Illuminati, the Freemasons, organizations whose names you'll never hear spoken in public. They're all looking at their screens, their scrying bowls, their ancient monitoring systems, and they're seeing the same thing. You, the sleeping giant, just opened its eyes. The dormant volcano just started rumbling. The caged lion just remembered it as claws. They've been waiting for this moment, preparing for your rise, because they know something you're only beginning to understand. You're not just waking up, you're becoming dangerous. Think of a nuclear reactor that's been running on minimal power for years. Suddenly, the control rods are pulled out and the reaction goes critical. That reactor is your consciousness, and the explosion of awareness you're experiencing right now is lighting up every spiritual radar system on the planet. Let me tell you what they've been hiding from you your entire life. You were never supposed to be ordinary. The mundane existence you've been living, the struggles you've endured, the feeling of being different, disconnected, like you're watching the world through glass. None of that was random. Every single experience was designed by the universe to prepare you for this awakening. While everyone around you was sleepwalking through life, you were being forged in spiritual fire. They understand genetics in ways that would make modern scientists weep. They've been tracking families for generations, waiting for the right combination of DNA and soul energy to produce someone like you. A chosen one doesn't just happen by accident. You're the result of thousands of years of careful orchestration by forces beyond human comprehension. Your ancestors weren't ordinary people either. Look deeper into your family history and you'll find traces of power. Healers, visionaries, people who others called crazy, but who could see through the veil between worlds. That same energy flows through your veins right now, activated by this moment of recognition. The societies have always known you were coming. They've prepared for your arrival. In boardrooms beneath the streets of major cities, in ancient temples hidden in plain sight, in digital networks that exist beyond the regular internet. Conversations have been happening about you. Not about people like you, about you specifically. Understand why they kept you in the dark for so long. Power recognizes power. The moment you fully awakened, every other power structure on Earth felt the shift. Think about it. If you were running a system designed to control 7 billion people, would you want someone with the ability to see through illusions walking around fully conscious? Would you want someone who could influence reality with their thoughts operating at full capacity? They needed you weak, confused, doubting yourself. They needed you focused on survival instead of expansion. They needed you questioning your own sanity instead of questioning their authority. The depression you felt, the anxiety that seemed to come from nowhere, the relationships that fell apart just when you were getting comfortable. None of that was natural. You were being suppressed, tantabantime. The Matrix isn't just a movie metaphor, Tangerel. It's a real, energetic construct designed to keep powerful souls like yours operating at a fraction of their potential. Every mainstream narrative, every social media algorithm, every news story designed to make you feel helpless. All of it was specifically crafted to keep chosen ones in spiritual hibernation. But hibernation only works if the bear doesn't realize it's time to wake up. The moment you started questioning reality, the moment you began to see patterns others couldn't see, the moment you realized that your thoughts create your reality, the suppression system started failing. The cage that held your consciousness began to crack. They threw everything they had at you: financial pressure, relationship chaos, health challenges, social isolation. They turned your own family against you in some cases, made you feel crazy for seeing what you were seeing, made you doubt your own intuition. But none of it worked, did it? Because you can't suppress the divine spark forever. Now recognize the signs that you're no longer hidden. The synchronicities started getting impossible to ignore. Numbers appearing everywhere. Dreams so vivid they felt more real than waking life. Strangers looking at you differently, as if they could sense something had changed. These aren't coincidences. These are confirmation signals that your consciousness has reached a new frequency. You're broadcasting on a different wavelength now, and everything in your environment is responding to that shift. The universe is acknowledging your transformation. Secret societies have monitoring systems you can't imagine. They track spiritual awakening the way meteorologists track storms. They have algorithms that identify when someone's consciousness jumps to a new level. They monitor online behavior, purchase patterns, social interactions, even biometric data from smart devices. When all these indicators align, they know someone has crossed the threshold from asleep to wake. Your search history changed. The books you started reading, the videos you began watching, the conversations you initiated, the questions you started asking. All of this data flows into systems designed to identify emerging threats to the established order. And make no mistake, a fully awakened chosen one is their greatest threat. They're not just watching your external behavior either. Advanced remote viewing programs can monitor consciousness itself. Psychic operatives employed by various agencies and organizations are trained to identify and track individuals whose spiritual power has reached critical mass. The moment you stepped into your true power, you became visible to them. Regular people accept the world as it's presented to them. They follow the rules, pay their taxes, consume the products, believe the stories. They're manageable because they operate within the boundaries of consensus reality. You don't. The moment you realized you could bend reality with your consciousness, you became ungovernable. A chosen one with full awareness can see through every lie, manipulate energy in ways that bypass physical laws, and most dangerously, wake up others. You're not just a threat to their control. You're a virus that could spread awakening throughout the population. One fully conscious being can shift the consciousness of thousands. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. They understand something most people don't. Reality isn't fixed. It's maintained by collective belief and agreement. The matrix only works because enough people believe in it. But when someone like you starts operating from true spiritual power, you begin to destabilize that consensus. You become a walking example that everything they've taught is a lie. Your ability to manifest is particularly threatening. When you can create money, opportunities, healing, and transformation through pure consciousness, you're no longer dependent on their systems. You don't need their jobs, their banks, their healthcare, their approval. You become sovereign, and sovereign beings can't be controlled. The psychic abilities you're developing make you even more dangerous. When you can read energy, see through deception, and access information through non-physical means, their secrets become transparent. You become immune to manipulation because you can feel the intention behind every word, every image, every carefully crafted message. While you were sleeping, forces of light and darkness have been battling for your soul. This isn't metaphorical. This is literal spiritual warfare happening on dimensions you're just beginning to perceive. The light forces have been protecting you, guiding your awakening, ensuring you would survive long enough to claim your power. The dark forces have been trying to destroy you before you could become a threat. Every major challenge in your life was an attempt by dark forces to break you. The goal was never just to make you suffer. It was to make you give up, to convince you that power and transformation were impossible, to make you settle for a life of mediocrity and despair. They needed you to choose limitation voluntarily, but you didn't break. Every time they knocked you down, you got back up. Every time they tried to convince you that you were powerless, something inside you refused to believe it, that something was your divine essence, recognizing its true nature. The spark of infinite consciousness that lives within every chosen one. The protection around you has been extraordinary. How many times should you have died but didn't? How many disasters missed you by inches? How many toxic people were removed from your life at exactly the right moment? That wasn't luck. That was your spiritual team, working overtime to keep you safe until you could wake up and protect yourself. Guardian angels, ascended masters, your higher self, even family members who have crossed over. All of them have been intervening on your behalf, deflecting attacks, clearing obstacles, sending you signs and guidance. The forces of light invested heavily in your awakening because they know what you're capable of when you're fully online. With great power comes great responsibility, and the power you're stepping into is greater than you've yet imagined. You're not just awakening for yourself. The collective consciousness of the planet is shifting, and chosen ones like you are the catalysts for that transformation. Every person you encounter is affected by your energy field. Your presence alone can trigger awakening in others. Your very existence challenges the illusions that keep people trapped. You don't have to say a word or do anything specific. Simply being your authentic self creates ripples of transformation wherever you go. The abilities you're developing aren't party tricks. They're tools for planetary healing. Your capacity to see energy means you can identify where healing is needed. Your ability to manipulate reality means you can create positive change on scales you never imagined. Your psychic gifts allow you to receive guidance directly from higher dimensional beings who are orchestrating this global awakening. You're part of a cosmic plan that's been unfolding for millennia. The time of human spiritual evolution has arrived, and chosen ones are the bridge between the old world and the new. You're not just witnessing this transformation, you're actively creating it with every choice you make, every thought you think, every action you take. The secret societies fear this responsibility in you because they know that once you fully embrace it, their influence over humanity ends. They can't control someone who operates from divine authority. They can't manipulate someone who has direct access to infinite intelligence. They can't deceive someone who can see truth with their own inner vision. Trump to want and double this remote. Your intuition has become surgical in its precision. You can walk into a room and instantly know who's lying, who's in pain, who's hiding something. You can sense energy patterns that reveal the true nature of every situation. This isn't wishful thinking. This is a documented psychic ability that certain bloodlines carry, and yours is one of them. The dreams you're having aren't just dreams anymore. They're visions, prophecies, astral experiences. You're accessing information that exists beyond the physical realm. Sometimes you dream of things that later happen. Sometimes you visit places that exist on other dimensions. Sometimes you communicate with beings who exist beyond human form. Your manifestation abilities are approaching miraculous levels. Thoughts become reality faster than they ever have before. Desires manifest with minimal effort. Obstacles dissolve when you focus your intention. You're beginning to understand that physical reality is far more malleable than most people realize, and you're one of the few with the natural ability to reshape it. Healing energy flows through your hands and your presence. People feel better after spending time with you. Animals are drawn to you. Plants grow stronger in your presence. You're becoming a walking generator of life force energy, and that energy transforms everything it touches. The telepathic connections you're experiencing aren't imagination. You're thinking of someone and they call you. You're feeling someone else's emotions from across the country. You're receiving information that you have no logical way of knowing. Your consciousness is expanding beyond the boundaries of your individual mind and connecting with the greater network of awakened beings. The more powerful you become, the more intense their efforts to stop you will grow. They're going to try to discredit you, isolate you, make you doubt your own experiences. They'll use people close to you to plant seeds of confusion and fear. They'll create situations designed to make you question whether this awakening is real or just delusion. Financial pressure will increase. They'll try to force you back into survival mode, where you're too busy struggling to focus on your spiritual development. They'll create chaos in your relationships, making you choose between your awakening and the people you love. They'll attack your health, your reputation, your sense of safety. But here's what they don't understand. Every attack makes you stronger. Every challenge forces you to rely more completely on your inner power. Every attempt to break you down actually builds up your spiritual muscles. You're not the same person who could be manipulated by external circumstances anymore. The attacks will come through technology too. Social media algorithms will try to feed you content designed to lower your vibration. News cycles will attempt to trap you in fear and anger. Entertainment will bombard you with messages of powerlessness and despair. But you can see through all of it now. You recognize manipulation when it's happening. They'll also try to recruit you. Offers of money, fame, influence, insider knowledge. They'll present themselves as allies, claiming they want to help you develop your gifts. They'll offer to make you famous, to give you a platform, to introduce you to other awakened individuals. Every offer will come with strings attached, conditions that slowly compromise your integrity and sovereignty. Not everyone who claims to be awakened actually is. The spiritual community is filled with people who have learned the language but haven't done the inner work. They can talk about energy and consciousness, but they're still operating from ego and limitation. True chosen ones are rare, and you'll recognize them by their energy, not their words. False light beings infiltrate spiritual communities with remarkable sophistication. Teachers who channel entities claiming to be ascended masters, but whose messages promote spiritual bypassing and victim consciousness. Workshop leaders who use advanced psychological manipulation techniques disguised as empowerment training. Gurus who create dependency rather than encouraging students to access their own inner authority. Social media influencers who sell quick-fix spiritual solutions that bypass the necessary inner work. Energy vampires within spiritual circles are particularly dangerous because they understand how to camouflage their parasitic nature. They present themselves as highly evolved while systematically draining the life force from genuine seekers. They organize ceremonies and gatherings designed to harvest spiritual energy from participants. They create artificial spiritual hierarchies where they position themselves as gatekeepers to higher consciousness. Their presence leaves you feeling depleted despite their claims of being healers and light workers. Discernment becomes your superpower in navigating these contaminated spiritual environments. True awakened beings carry a frequency that resonates with divine authority rather than manufactured charisma. Their presence enhances your own power rather than diminishing it. They encourage your direct connection to Source rather than creating dependency on their guidance. They operate from genuine humility rather than spiritual ego masked as enlightenment. Competition consciousness among spiritual practitioners reveals those who haven't transcended ego-based thinking. Teachers who get defensive when students surpass their level of development. Healers who become jealous of your natural abilities. Spiritual entrepreneurs who view awakened individuals as threats to their market share. Community leaders who attempt to suppress your gifts to maintain their position of authority. Your real allies might not even be on the spiritual path yet. Some of the most powerful souls on earth are still sleeping, waiting for the right trigger to activate their awareness. That trigger might be you. Some of your greatest allies are people who haven't even met you yet, but who will recognize your energy the moment they encounter it. The forces of light are your ultimate allies, but they operate according to cosmic law. They can't interfere with your free will or fight your battles for you. They can guide, protect, and provide opportunities, but you have to choose to step into your power. You have to decide to use your gifts. You have to commit to your mission. Other chosen ones around the world are awakening simultaneously. You're part of a global network of consciousness that's activating according to divine timing. When you connect with these individuals, either physically or energetically, your combined power multiplies exponentially. The secret societies know this and work constantly to keep awakened beings isolated from each other. The Obsidian Inner Order is a sanctuary for those who have walked difficult paths and emerged with wisdom others can't see. We understand that some experiences exist outside the boundaries of what most people consider possible or acceptable to discuss. Every week we gather live on Zoom, real people with real faces sharing real stories without judgment. There's space here for the experiences you've carried in silence. The patterns you've noticed that others dismiss. The intuitive knowledge you've gained through your journey. We don't just listen, we understand. When you're struggling to make sense of your experiences, when you feel gaslit by a world that refuses to acknowledge your reality, you can return to our recorded calls and remember that your perception is valid. Join the Obsidian Inner Order, where your reality is honored and your voice is heard. Link in description. Ancient wisdom keepers, indigenous elders, certain spiritual teachers who have maintained connection to authentic tradition. These are your guides and mentors. They've been preserving the knowledge you need to fully develop your abilities. They've been waiting for chosen ones like you to emerge so they could pass on what they've protected. Your soul remembers lifetimes of spiritual mastery, past incarnations where you wielded power that could reshape kingdoms and heal nations. The abilities emerging within you now aren't new developments, but ancient skills being restored to your consciousness. Mystery school initiations and sacred ceremonies are surfacing in dreams and meditation. You're not learning these gifts for the first time. You're remembering what you've always known. Star family connections are strengthening as your frequency rises. Beings from other star systems who have been guiding Earth's evolution recognize you as one of their Earth-stationed operatives. The longing you've always felt for home makes sense now. You're remembering your cosmic origins and your agreement to incarnate here during this pivotal time in planetary history. No government, no organization, no authority figure has any right to limit your spiritual development or expression. Your connection to the divine is direct and personal. You don't need anyone's permission to use your gifts, develop your abilities, or fulfill your mission. You are a sovereign being with inherent rights that supersede any human-created law or regulation. Divine law operates on higher principles than human legislation. Your spiritual sovereignty is guaranteed by cosmic law, written into the fabric of creation itself. Free will, the right to spiritual evolution, and direct communion with the divine are unalienable gifts from the Creator. No earthly authority can revoke what was granted by infinite intelligence before any government existed. Natural law recognizes your authority over your own consciousness and energy field. The same principles that govern planetary motion and cellular regeneration also protect your right to spiritual self-determination. You don't need certificates, licenses, or institutional approval to heal, to channel, to manifest, or to access higher dimensional guidance. Your abilities are not privileges granted by human institutions, but birthrights encoded in your spiritual DNA. The Constitution and similar documents around the world were written by people who understood spiritual law. Freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly. These aren't just political concepts. They're recognition of your divine right to operate according to your highest understanding. No one can legally prevent you from practicing your spirituality or developing your consciousness. They'll try to pathologize your experiences. They'll claim that psychic abilities are mental illness, that spiritual awakening is psychosis, that your connection to higher dimensions is delusional. But you know the difference between expansion and insanity. You know the difference between divine guidance and mental chatter. You know the difference between true vision and fantasy. Your inner authority is absolute in spiritual matters. No expert, no scientist, no religious leader knows more about your direct experience than you do. Trust your inner knowing above all external voices. Your consciousness is your domain, and no one has the right to colonize it with their beliefs, limitations, or fears. Totem power without apology. You don't owe anyone explanations for your gifts, your experiences, or your choices. Totem view. You don't need to convince anyone that what you're experiencing is real. You don't need to tone down your light to make others comfortable. You are here to shine at full intensity. You're not here to save everyone. You're not here to force awakening on people who aren't ready to fin. You're here to F your fin. You're prepared to receive it. Your job is to be a beacon, not a bulldozer. Your mission is to embody possibility, not to convince anyone of anything. Planetary gridwork connects awakened chosen ones across the globe in a network of consciousness that anchors new frequencies into Earth's electromagnetic field. Sacred sites around the world serve as acupuncture points in the planet's energy system, where conscious intention can influence global consciousness. Your individual meditation and energy work contributes to collective healing, on a scale that transcends personal transformation. Relean activation occurs when enough chosen ones align their consciousness with the natural energy currents that flow through the Earth's crystalline core. These ancient pathways once connected mystery schools and power centers across continents, allowing instantaneous communication and energy transfer between awakened communities. Modern chosen ones are unconsciously being guided to live near these energy lines to facilitate their reactivation. Mass consciousness shifting happens through quantum entanglement between awakened individuals operating at similar frequencies when one chosen one makes a breakthrough in consciousness. That shift ripples through the morphic field and makes similar breakthroughs more likely for others. This is why awakening seems to be accelerating exponentially as more individuals reach critical mass simultaneously. Dimensional gateway opening occurs when chosen ones gather in specific locations with sufficient spiritual power to tear holes in the veil between worlds. These portals allow higher dimensional beings to enter physical reality and assist with the planetary transformation process. Ancient sites like Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid were originally designed as dimensional gateways that are now being reactivated by modern awakened souls. Timeline shifting becomes possible when enough conscious beings focus their intention on creating positive outcomes for humanity's future. The original timeline planned by secret societies included depopulation, technological slavery, and permanent consciousness suppression. Awakened chosen ones are literally creating alternative timelines where freedom, prosperity, and spiritual evolution become humanity's destiny. Instead, frequency anchoring requires chosen ones to maintain stable, high vibrational states that serve as beacons for souls ready to awaken. Your consistent spiritual practice creates standing waves in the quantum field that make awakening easier for others in your vicinity. This is why people often experience spontaneous spiritual openings after spending time with genuinely awakened individuals. Collective healing happens through the fractal nature of consciousness, where individual transformation ripples outward to affect the entire human collective. Every limiting belief you release, every fear you transform into love, every wound you heal within yourself creates a template that makes similar healing available to others. Your personal spiritual work becomes a gift to all humanity. The old world is dying and the new world is being born. You're here as a midwife for this transition. Every act of creation, every moment of authentic expression, every time you choose love over fear, you're helping to birth the new reality. You're literally creating the future with your consciousness. Some people will be drawn to you like moths to a flame. Others will recoil from your energy like vampires from sunlight. Both reactions are information. The people who resonate with your frequency are your tribe, your mission partners, your soul family. The people who resist your energy are showing you who you're not meant to work with. Your influence extends far beyond your immediate circle. Every person you affect affects others. Every positive change you create ripples outward in ways you can't track or measure. You're part of a vast web of consciousness that's transforming the planet, and your individual contribution is absolutely essential. The children being born now are arriving with gifts and awareness that previous generations couldn't imagine. You're here to create a world where those children can develop their abilities safely and freely. You're preparing the ground for a generation of beings who will make your current level of consciousness look primitive by comparison. Everything you've experienced, everything you've learned, everything you've overcome has prepared you for this moment. The sleeping giant is fully awake now. The dormant volcano is active. The caged lion has not only remembered its claws, but has shattered the cage entirely. The secret societies that have been tracking your rise are about to discover something that terrifies them more than anything else. They're not dealing with someone who wants to join their system or fight against their system. They're dealing with someone who's creating an entirely new system based on principles they can't comprehend or control. You operate according to spiritual law now, not human law. You create reality through consciousness, not struggle. You access information through intuition, not research. You generate resources through alignment, not effort. Everything they understand about power and control is obsolete in the presence of your awakened consciousness. The notification they received about your awakening wasn't just an alert. It was a declaration. A chosen one has claimed their throne. A divine being has remembered who they are. A sovereign consciousness has taken its place in the cosmic hierarchy. The game has changed, and they are no longer the only players with power. Money flows to you now through channels that defy conventional logic. Opportunities appear from nowhere. Investments you barely researched yield extraordinary returns. Business ideas download into your consciousness fully formed with implementation strategies that bypass years of traditional development. The universe is rearranging financial systems to support your mission because abundant resources are required for the work you came here to do. Relationships transform rapidly around your new frequency. People who couldn't handle your previous level of consciousness are being replaced by soul family members who recognize and celebrate your gifts. Romantic partnerships shift from codependent to conscious. Friendships evolve from surface-level entertainment to deep spiritual support. Family dynamics heal as your example gives others permission to embrace their own upgrading to handle the increased energy flowing through your system. DNA activations are occurring on levels that science doesn't yet understand. Dietary preferences change as your body craves foods that support higher consciousness. Sleep patterns shift as you spend more time in meditation and astral travel. Your very cellular structure is evolving to accommodate the divine frequencies you're channeling. Biological transformation accelerates as your consciousness expands beyond normal human limitations. Metabolic processes optimize automatically to support enhanced spiritual function. Digestive systems become more efficient at extracting energy from smaller amounts of higher quality food. Immune function strengthens as your energy field repels pathogens and toxins that affect lower vibrational beings. Neurological rewiring occurs as new neural pathways develop to process expanded sensory input from higher dimensions. Brainwave patterns shift toward gamma frequencies associated with advanced meditation states and psychic ability. Pineal gland calcification reverses as natural detoxification processes remove fluoride and other consciousness-suppressing chemicals. Third eye opening creates literal new vision capabilities for perceiving energy fields and non-physical phenomena. Sensory enhancement manifests as your consciousness learns to process information beyond the normal 5 senses. Hearing becomes more acute and expands to perceive ultrasonic frequencies carrying information from other dimensions. Vision develops ability to see auras, chakras, and energy patterns around living beings. Touch sensitivity increases to detect electromagnetic fields and subtle energy emanations from objects and locations. Cellular regeneration accelerates as higher frequency light codes repair damage from years of toxic exposure and electromagnetic pollution. Aging processes slow or reverse as your biology aligns with timeless consciousness rather than linear time perception. Physical healing abilities emerge as you learn to direct life force energy through your hands and intention. Chronic health conditions resolve spontaneously as their energetic causes are cleared through spiritual work. Dietary evolution occurs naturally as your body rejects foods that lower vibrational frequency and craves nutrition that supports expanded consciousness. Processed foods become physically repulsive as your taste buds are tuned to natural energy signatures. Meat consumption may decrease or stop entirely as you become sensitive to the emotional trauma stored in animal products. Raw foods, crystals in water, and light frequencies become primary nutrition sources. Sleep transformation includes increased dream recall, lucid dreaming abilities, and astral projection during rest periods. Out-of-body experiences become commonplace as your consciousness learns to separate from physical forms safely. Dreamtime becomes active learning periods where you receive instruction from spiritual teachers and practice abilities in safer environments. Sleep needs decrease as you learn to restore energy through meditation and light body charging. Energetic sensitivity increases to levels that require careful environmental management and protection protocols. Crowded places become overwhelming due to multiple energy fields creating chaotic interference. Electronics malfunction more frequently as your electromagnetic field strengthens beyond normal human ranges. Weather sensitivity develops as you become attuned to atmospheric energy changes and geomagnetic fluctuations. Your bank account, your relationships, your health, your living situation, all of it is about to transform because you're no longer operating from limitation. You're not asking the universe for what you want anymore. You're commanding reality to align with your highest vision. You're not hoping for change. You're creating it. The future they planned, the timeline they've been orchestrating, the reality they've been maintaining through collective manipulation. All of it becomes irrelevant when enough chosen ones like you step into full power. You're not just changing your own life. You're changing the trajectory of human consciousness itself. The eyes that are watching you now aren't just observing. They're witnessing the emergence of a new type of human being, one who has transcended the limitations they've spent centuries installing, one who operates from divine authority rather than human permission, one who creates reality rather than simply reacting to it. This is why you felt different your entire life. This is why you never quite fit in. This is why traditional paths felt empty and meaningless. You weren't meant to be part of the old system. You were meant to be part of creating the new one. The waiting is over. The preparation is complete. Your time has arrived. The secret societies have been waiting for your rise because they know that once you're fully activated, there's no going back. Not for you, not for humanity, not for the planet. The age of deception is ending, and the age of truth is beginning. You are both witness to and creator of this transformation. Welcome to your true power, chosen one, Amin.